Evening everybody, welcome to Wednesday night's live paper crafting. I hope you're all safe and well and dry. Weather's been really grotty here today and it's still raining outside. Okay, so tonight I'm going to be doing just the one card. Tonight I'm going to be using the Blossoms in Bloom stamp set. Not so much the stamp set, but more so the dies. So these are the many layered blossoms dies. So for those of you that follow me, you'll be aware how much I love this stamp set. So I'm trying to use the rest of the bundle because it does come together as a coordinating set and you save 10% by purchasing that way. Evening to everyone who's joining. Hope you're all okay. So for this card, you'll see behind, I've just done a bit of watercolouring, but I'm not going to use those colours now. I'm going to use a couple of different ones, so just to mix it up a bit for you. So these dies come like so. So you get this lovely detailed one here, which is actually the one I've used. And then you have a thicker one that you can use behind it, and then you get the little flowers as well. So I'm going to use some of those, but this die here, and I have pre-cut this already. I thought I had. Let's have a look. Maybe I haven't. Oh dear, guys. Maybe I haven't. I'm just going to wheel my big shot in about 2 seconds. So there's me thinking I've been all super organised. And I haven't. I honestly thought I'd pre-cut that. I am going crazy today. My head is still in Sylvanians, which we've been playing all day. Just checking in my bin to see if I put it in there. No, I haven't. Oh, I have. It's right under my nose. Oh dear, girls. Right. So back to it. This is the die. This is how it cuts. So you get this lovely piece like so. I've cut this from Whisper White and it's super intricate as well. So it cuts all the little pieces. Oh, I've missed one there. And it's just fab. So to save you watching me popping out all those little bits, here is one I've made earlier. So what we're going to do first is we're going to create our watercolour background. So what I need is this is the Fluid 100 watercolour card, and it's just a bit smaller than A5, I would say. So I'm just getting some normal tissue there. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a little bit of colour across here. So I'm using one of the new brushes and I'm just using a pot of water because actually you need quite a bit of water for this technique. So to start with, we're going to make our piece of cardstock nice and wet. So all we're going to do is we're using a spritzer and we're just going to spray our card like so. Now the colours that I've chosen tonight are Bumblebee, which is one of our new in colours, So Saffron, which is one of our Subtles colours, and Pumpkin Pie, which belongs in our Regals family. So for this technique, I'm always going to start with the lighter colour. And then I want to get some more ink on here. So all I'm going to do is keep my stamp pad closed and just give it a really good squeeze. And what that does is that gives you some more ink on there, and we can use that as our colouring palette. Now, I want to stick this. I don't want to get wet fingers. So someone showed me this technique the other day. You basically put a post-it note on your hand and you hold your card down flat. How genius is that? So I'm just making nice, and then all I'm doing is I'm working my colour across the page. Okay. So nice watercolour effect. This brush is perfect because it's got a really wide tip. Okay, so you just want to do that on roughly a third of the piece of card. Okay, just keep going until you're happy with the colour, like so. give your paintbrush a little bit of a wash. And then we can move on to our next darker colour. Okay, so for this I've got some Bumblebee. And then again, bring in some water. And then this is slightly darker, so we want it to just be that little bit darker to get that bit of, so it's actually not too much darker, but we can keep going over it until we are happy with the colour. The more water you use, the more diluted the colour. So to pick up a bit more colour, here we go. Just go over. That's it, so that's getting darker now. So this is just a really easy way to create a bit of a ombre effect. Oh dear, look, it's come out there. Don't worry, we won't use that bit. So, and then we have some pumpkin pie. Actually, I'm not happy with that, so I'm going to start again. Ignore me, I might be one of those videos tonight, girls. I'm not having a good week, am I? After me experience with my glue on Sunday. Right, let's start this again. So we have some watercolour paper, and it looks like I'm going to get mucky hands. Spritz our card, and then let's go back in with some So Saffron. I think I'm destined to be mucky this evening. That's it. So this one we want to be nice and light. Like that. Go down a bit further. That's it. And then next we want some Bumblebee. That's better, that's more of a definite difference. Okay, so just keep going over it until you're happy. Use up as much or as little ink as you like. Okay, and then now we can go in with our orange. Hi Danny. Hope you're alright. Hope you had a good day. So we're just creating a bit of a watercolour look. So this orange looks absolutely fab. I love this orange. That's it. So those colours are blending together really nicely now. And then all you do is you just go over your kind of line where that's going to blend. So that piece of card has got quite a lot of water in it now, so we need to get that to dry. So for the benefit of the video, I would normally just leave that to dry like that, but it's going to take a while, so I'm just going to use my heat tool to just heat it over. So now we're just going to put that to one side and we can start building our card base. folding my grid paper up. So what we have now, we have a standard Whisper White card base, and I'm just going to fold that in half. So this is a nice book fold. Okay. Now I have a second piece of Whisper White. This measures 10 centimetre by 14.4, so you can't really see that. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use one of the stitched rectangle dies and cut the aperture out of the front of this one. Okay, so I've just popped some washi tape on there to hold it in place. This is the piece we're cutting here, so we're cutting the hole in the front of the card. All right, so all I'm doing is I'm rolling this through my Big Shot. I won't bring this into shot. Just roll this through. So this just pops out of the front like so. Okay, so then this piece is the piece that we're actually going to pop onto our card like so. Okay, but before we do that, we need to actually we need to attach our die piece. So I'm going to attach that like so. So just pop it in the middle. You will have a few bits overhanging, but we're going to snip those off. So you want to make sure that whole area is covered, and then what we're going to do is we're going to use some washi tape to just stick that down. So you won't see this bit. Just making sure that's around the right way. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so just make sure everything's round the right way. And it is. So people won't see this washi tape, so don't worry too much. And then what we're going to do is we're going to snip these pieces that are overhanging off. Okay, so there's not many pieces at all. We're just going to give them a little snip. Okay, so now we have our piece like so, like that. We can now bring our nice and dry piece of watercolouring back in. So now we need to cut this down, and we want to cut it so that it's ever so slightly smaller than this piece. Okay, so this piece measures that piece measures 10 centimetres by 14.4, so I'm just going to cut it down so that it is 9.5 centimetres wide, and I'm going to cut it down to 13.9. So I'm going to cut it down up here because actually if we cut it this end, we'll lose quite a bit of the orange, and we don't really want to do that. I'd rather lose some of the yellow. Okay, so save these pieces because we'll also need those in a moment. So now this can be stuck onto our card like so, and we can stick that down with wet glue or seal if you have it, or tear and tape, whichever you prefer using. There's no right or wrong. So then that is on there like so. I think that looks lovely, just like that. And then now we can stick on our piece. We're going to turn that back over, and then this is the adhesive, the foam sheets. So I'm just going to cut a few strips of this. 1, 2, 3, 4. At first I wasn't sure on the adhesive, on the foam sheets, but I'm really glad I used them because they're great for things like this. I'd need to use about 10 or 12 dimensionals, so just makes it a little bit easier. So I'm just sticking this round on all the 4 sides. We can peel those backs off. I am quite impressed with that background. I think it's lovely. It looks lovely as a sunset, doesn't it? 2, 3, 4. Okay. So now this is getting stuck down so that it's in the centre of that card. So now we have it looking like that. So what do we think? Do we like that? That would be quite nice just as it is, wouldn't it? So next we have a circle that we need to just cut through. And then whilst I'm there, I'm going to use this piece here to cut 3 flowers. So these are dies that come from the same set. There are actually 2. They're ever so slightly different sizes. So I'm going to cut 1 from the orange and then 2 from the yellow, and I'm going to run the circle through at the same time. Okay. So I'm just running those through the big shot behind me. And then we can finish off our Wednesday night card. So here we have a stitched circle. Want my die moved. There we have 1 flower. Okay, so this one here and this one here, we'll just have some yellowy looking flowers. So these are lovely. We can just pop these pieces out. Because the watercolour paper is a bit thicker, these do take a little bit of gentle persuasion to come out. Okay, so there we have 1. These look lovely as well. And then we have 2, and now we have 3. That's it. Oh, Hilary, you've put your loving it. Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. So now I'll just move our bits and pieces out after I put the dies back in the packet. So now we're going to just line our circle up roughly about there, and I'm just going to trim off a section of the bottom like so. So that's that. I didn't want to lose too much of the card, but I felt that if I'd put that on beforehand, you wouldn't have seen the flowers very well. So there is always a method to my madness, I promise. Okay, so that is just gone on like so. And then we're going to layer on our die cut pieces. There is actually a better way to do this. 2 seconds. Okay. So what I have here is I have some adhesive sheets. So for intricate dies like this, and these are brand new in the annual catalogue, you get 12 sheets, and they are 6 by 12 inches. And they are a great way for you to stick your dies on without getting yourself covered in ink. So you'll see that they're split into 3. If I can pull that off, like so. So you can see that there is glue on there. So all we're going to do is we're going to pop our die on, all of our dies, put the backing back on, give them a bit of a push down, and then when you peel these off, these are sticky, okay? So just give them a bit of a manoeuvre around, okay? And then these can be stuck on, okay? So these just takes a little bit of playing with. So we have 1, we have 2, and we have 3. So these are super sticky. So you just need to, you can use your adhesive rubber on these afterwards to get any excess off. But most of these will actually be covered by our sentiment. So those are adhesive sheets, great for sticking dies on and intricate pieces. So then now all we have left is we have our sentiment. So we're going to do a little bit of heat embossing. So for that I have some black cardstock. I have the happy birthday sentiment that comes from the coordinating stamp set, and I'm gonna stamp this in Versamark. Versamark is a sticky ink pad. But before we do that, we need to use our embossing buddy, which was on my desk. Here he is. Okay, so just go over your cardstock with your embossing buddy. You could use a tumble dryer sheet. It just helps take all the static off of your card, so you get a real clear embossed look. So stamp that, you can see that it's just picked up the ink, and then this is white embossing powder that I've just decanted into a tub, and then we're going to set that with our heat tool. So you'll see that's just starting to turn and set. So that looks lovely. So that is all set. And then now I have a stitched rectangle die, which we're going to cut that out with. So we're carrying on the lovely stitched effect. So I don't want this to move. Sticking it down with some washi tape. And then this just pops out. Here we go, here he comes. So we have happy birthday. And then this is just going to go over the top like so. Okay, so I'm just going to stick that down with a bit of dimensional. So there's lots of dimension to this card, which is always lovely. So there we have our finished card front. So this is our original, and this is the one that we've put together tonight. And because the inside is quite, oh no, I've already stuck the inside. The inside piece is quite flimsy. We're just going to add a little bit of backing to that, because otherwise it just doesn't feel very nice. It doesn't feel equally weighted. So to do that, we're just going to cut a piece of white that measures 10 centimetres by 14.4 centimetres. Okay, and then this piece we can just stick inside like so. There we are. So there we have our finished card for the evening. We've used the mini layered blossom dies for our piece behind. We've done some watercolouring in the back to create that nice ombre look, and then we've got a bit of heat embossing to finish off. Okay, so that's it all for me this evening. I'll next be live again on Sunday at 8:30 in the evening, just for a weekly Sunday night stamping. I'm not quite sure what I'll be doing then, but feel free to join in. I'd love to see you. In the meantime, if you have any questions about anything I've used, any of the products or any of the techniques, please drop me a message. I'll try and get everything onto my blog for you later on this evening. And if you are going to place an order through my online store, don't forget to use the Hostess code for this month. It's at the top of this post today, and it just means that when you spend between £25 and £149, you will get a free stamp set next month from me as a thank you gift. So that's it, guys. Have a lovely evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. I hope the weather perks up a bit, and I will see you all soon. Take care. Bye.